Greetings, Padawans, and welcome to the Archives. Here to unlock this holocron is the man of the hour, Jedi Master Sotiko.
Welcome to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. It's a more different one than usual. I am playing Grand Theft Auto in the background because that seems to be the viral meta. But this is the Archives podcast. I am talking some Star Wars. There are a couple boys in the chat.
Excuse me.
Boys to men.
There's a couple lads in the chat, Van Seal and Fred. They might hop in and contribute if I say something off meta, but...
Off meta?
We got off meta Van Seal in the chat out here today, but today, nice and easy little subject. Gonna be talking about the glaring issue with Star Wars, and I think how it comes down to two characters, that being Cal Kestis and Starkiller. Now, with these two Donnies, I think that they are a bit too overpowered not to be included within live action, especially when the actors are of a decent state to be able to be used in live action. And just going to be talking about some predictions with it. Going to be talking about some upcoming series that I've got rocking and the cancellation of a series because I've been getting ghosted. So welcome to the Archives podcast, episode 16. 2 more episodes, this one and next week's, and then we're going to be taking December off and coming back in January for season 2 just because of the holidays and everything. I didn't want to hamper people for podcast recordings and all that. So 17 episodes in season 1. I hope you guys have enjoyed each and every single one of them. This is episode 16, and to kick it off, I want to talk in chronological order. So let's talk about Cal Kestis, right? This man, Cal Kestis, was kind of a sleeper. He was kind of a sleeper because no one was really expecting much out of Jedi Fallen Order. Truthfully, I didn't hear anything about the game until after it came out, and I didn't even get the game on release either. It was one of those games that I got eventually, but not on release. When I got Fallen Order, I quickly fell in love with it because of just how cool it was and the lack thereof of playing as a Jedi in Battlefront 2, and especially Battlefront. Because for the longest time, I was like, why doesn't Battlefront have like a Be a Jedi type story mode where you can customize your character up a little bit? Because I'm a firm believer that video games should offer customization. I don't think that games should ever hamper you into playing one set story character. I understand with Star Wars, and they're making these games canon and all, that they're creating these characters that they want you to learn, they want you to get to know, they want you to grow with. But my issue with that is it does get a bit static and it doesn't allow for much replayability. The cool thing about Knights of the Old Republic was, even though you were always going to end up as Revan, there were still multiple different avenues that you could take to get there. You could go light side, you could stay sort of neutral, or you could go for the dark side. With Star Wars The Old Republic, there's nothing but character customization. And I hate when people bring up The Old Republic as an example of this because it's an MMO. Of course it's going to have customization, but where I'm frankly talking is about a story-based game that is a group effort from the studios, from Lucasfilm, from Disney, from Star Wars, from whoever's creating it, to create a game that allows their player base to have replayability, to have fun, to have challenges, to have updated content. It boggles my mind that they haven't created an open world Star Wars game that you can go and be whoever the hell you want. They have a Star Wars roleplay game way back in the day that you could do. The issue with that is that that kind of technology that game's based upon is just so outdated. And even KOTOR, you know, we got the news earlier this week that KOTOR, the remake, has been canceled. It's a huge blow. It's a huge...
Is it canceled, or is it just not being worked on? Because I heard it was just they just stopped making it.
Yeah, essentially. I took it as it got canceled. Because if it's not being worked on at all by anybody, it just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound good, obviously.
That's true.
And the quote, like verbatim, the quote was, "It's not being worked on by anybody, full stop. No one is touching the game." And that, yeah, it's just not good news. It's not good news, because if you're not making any progress at all on something that got announced and then de-announced, because Sony deleted the announcement trailer.
Yep, I saw that. They took it off YouTube. IGN still has it up, but yeah, Sony took it off their YouTube page. That was pretty big.
Still alive. I found it.
No, that I forgot. Yeah, that's a good point. Them taking it off their web page or their YouTube page that's pretty big. Like, you don't do that unless you're just like let's just sweep this under the rug.
Yeah,
meat coffin, you know.
Pretty much. Yeah, it is like nail in the coffin, because as like in communication classes, you learn that, you know, tweets, videos, posts, they only really get deleted if you're pulling up the anchor and moving on, you know? So it sucks. It's terrible, because that was the like one game that I was really looking forward to.
Same.
That I knew wasn't going to be a letdown.
Dude, I was even considering just buying a PS5 just for the game. I was like, if it comes on PC, I'll just get on PC, I guess.
I had a lot of friends who were in the same boat, man. Like, my brother, who's not even the biggest Star Wars guy, but he liked that game, was considering it. And one of my friends was considering it because he loved that game. And it really is the best Star Wars game that's ever been released. And if it only had just modern controls, modern graphics, it would be so freaking good, even if you're pigeonholing people to just playing Revan. Like, but my main issue, right, with games these days are that they keep dropping only single player games, whereas
for KOTOR, I'm okay with that, because KOTOR is like, it's a big one. I'd be okay if it was only single player. Obviously, KOTOR 3 would always the hope of having co-op, but I don't know, at this point, like, I'm like, at the same time, that new game Outlaws, I'm pissed off that it's only single player. I'm like, dude, it's basically Star Wars GTA.
Yeah.
Or Star Wars Red Dead Redemption, and I'm like, and it's only single player, and I'm like, that's so stupid.
Yeah, there's like that. That's the one example I had. I pray it succeeds so that Outlaws 2 has online.
Yeah.
I pray it succeeds. And with KOTOR, going back to it, there's no reason why you can't invite a friend to come in and play like HK-47 or Bastila, you know?
Yeah.
If you have a party of 3 or 4 or 2, you should be able to invite friends to play those roles. That'd be fire. That'd be so sick. And you can make it where a lot of EA games have done this in the past, where you didn't even need to buy the full game, just have the free trial, and then you can invite your friend to come in and play your companion. I think that would be a sick thing in and of itself, even if they didn't have the game, but you can invite them to it. I think that'd be really cool. And going with...
I mean, another one is like, you know, Lego Star Wars was amazing, by the way. It was an amazing game. It looks very gorgeous. I think it's the prettiest Lego game they've ever made, and it's even prettier than some other games. Like, it's almost just as good as good looking as Battlefront.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is there's also no co-op in a Lego Star Wars game. Like, nothing.
Yeah. There's no co-op.
What the hell?
There's really no like skill to the game.
Well, it's a Lego game. I mean,
yeah, I do get it.
It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be a fun, goofy game you play. Honestly, kind of meant for a younger audience. But like, the fact that there's no multiplayer or co-op is like in a Lego game, like really? Because that's what we all grew up on, is playing Lego Star Wars with, you know, a brother or a friend or somebody.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, like, Xbox 360, the complete saga, you could invite a friend to come and play with you in co-op. Only on the 360. But for whatever reason, the Skywalker saga, which had 18 months of delays, they couldn't implement a way to play co-op with somebody. Now, there's a workaround. If you have a PlayStation 5, you can invite someone to a share play, and they can essentially play co-op with you. But
you can play co-op on Steam, but it's only one screen, like you both share it. It's really gimmicky.
Yeah, you shouldn't need to do that. I'm sorry, but like every game should have some form of co-op capability. If it literally isn't just a genre-specific single-player title, even those, like, I don't mind. Like The Last of Us, I think could be co-op to a degree. But I get it. But games like Star Wars, especially when you're dropping games that have companions in them, like, you should make them co-op. Everyone loves playing games with their friends. That's what gaming these days is really built around, is gaming with friends. And it's just so odd they haven't like tried to emulate that. There's no multiplayer Star Wars game out there besides Battlefront 2. And that came out in 2017. It's about to be 2024. And it's mad. It's really mad. I just don't get it. I don't get why they don't take advantage of how successful and how famous that the IP is. And
I think it's because the IP is stained. I think it has a big stain on it. I think Disney stained it hard.
Sure, but there's just so much creative. Like, there's so much that you can do creatively with a video game to distance yourself from all that. You can set a GTA style Star Wars game in the era of the Empire, an era that everyone loves, and it's easy peasy. Instead of police in GTA, you have stormtroopers everywhere.
I agree. No, I think making a remake is not hard, even if you just keep everything the same. Like, it's not hard, but I think Star Wars is just, it's got an ugly stain and it smells. I really think that Disney really, like, I don't know how, but like Disney got the best IP ever, right? The best IP in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow they managed to fuck it up and make it like where it just nobody wants it anymore. And unfortunately, at the end of the day, like what makes a game successful is if it sells. And I think companies want Star Wars. They want to, like, I know some people that would love to make a Star Wars game. The problem is these companies are like, well, at the end of the day, this is the Star Wars game going to make money, is going to sell, because that's what's going to determine who makes what.
Yeah, pretty much.
And unfortunately, I just think right now with our culture and the way Disney has fucked up Star Wars, nobody wants Star Wars. You know, I mean, it's a sad reality, but that's what happened when Disney took over. They messed it up. don't know. What do you think?
No, I'm with you. I just don't get where this disconnect came from. Genuinely. Because I enjoyed the hell out of Clone Wars. Which was Disney's first, like, go at it. I enjoyed the hell out of Rogue One. I think it really did come down to like, they lost trust in Disney and Lucasfilm when The Last Jedi came out, and so many people had so many issues with the film. And it really, like, that's the stuck point. That's the stuck point with Star Wars, is The Last Jedi, because The Rise of Skywalker then had to go on and do what it had to do. But when it comes to just pure gaming, I don't know, man. I feel like even Battlefront 2's initial release, sure, it was meant to suck, but it didn't really leave that much of a stain in my mouth, because they fixed everything that they messed up. And they made everything even easier to accomplish in the first place. Like, everything was free to play for the most part in Battlefront 2. The place where I started to get a big issue with things was with Jedi Survivor, where...
Yeah, I never bought it. I did not like it. I liked the first one, Fallen Order. I thought Fallen Order was great, but I watched people play Survivor, and I was like, yeah, I'll wait for the third one. If the third one's good,
it's very pass-worthy.
We'll buy it, but probably not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really enjoy it. I liked it for what it was, but at the same time, man, you can't just like something for what it was, because the game, it was just so repetitive. It was so repetitive, and the story didn't really make a lot of sense. We talked about Seer off camera, but Seer as a character sucks.
Yeah, she's annoying as hell.
She's annoying, and it doesn't really make sense, their interactions with Cal. I enjoy the Cal and Marin stuff. It almost got ruined by a book, but luckily it didn't.
I could care less.
And that's
but
fair.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. As far as the game goes, for the most part, it was all right, but man, it just dragged and dragged and dragged on to the point where you were wanting the game to end. And
that's not a good sign.
Exactly, it's not a good sign. Because the other issue is that the era it's based in. You know that we don't see Cal in live action, and you know that it doesn't really have any effect upon the movies, upon the state of the galaxy. So it's another tricky thing, because Fallen Order really made you care about the character, whereas in Jedi Survivor, you kind of disconnect from the character a little bit because of just how overwhelmingly bad that the game really was. Like, the planet, the story, the main focus, the main villain, why you were doing what you were doing, none of it really made sense. And in the end, like, everything that you didn't even matter for the ending. So all in all, like, it was just a dud of a story. And now that there's a third one coming, I'm like, well, geez, like, where do you even go from here, man? Like, they even splashed in, like, cameos with Vader, with Boba Fett, and it's like, where do you go from here? Do you introduce Obi-Wan?
Ooby dooby kadooby.
You have to do something,
God.
really.
I
just don't know what they do, man.
A building thinking out a parachute multiplayer.
And I think that's my crux with the video games of Star Wars right now, is that there's no multiplayer.
There's no nothing with Star Wars, man. There's literally nothing. It's not just multiplayer. Like, there's just no nothing. Like, it's just, I mean, I know it's not good grammar. There's no nothing. There's not any games. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's just like, you want some cool Star Wars ideas to hit every genre, do an RPG, do a first-person shooter, do a Jedi game in third person, do a racing game with pod racers, do a Sims Star Wars game. How hard would that be to make? I mean, I just don't get, like, and like I said, I think a lot of it is just, is Star Wars going to sell right now? And I think no. And the problem with Star Wars is, if it's Star Wars, you have to put a big budget into it. You know what I mean? You can't just like put it on a small budget. It is the IP of all IPs, but is it going to be worth selling? No, it's not, unfortunately. And that's just because the franchise has been stained. And you know, I did a study in college last year about gaming, and mobile games, believe it or not, like Galaxy Heroes that we play, actually make the most money out of anything.
Oh yeah,
they make more money than PC, Xbox, but it doesn't matter. Like mobile games changed in the industry because they nickel and dime everyone to death, and those people don't even play them. They just like buy this or buy that for $20-$30 here, and then it's like, for a free to play game, it's like, it's no longer really free. It's the game's paying for itself.
Yep.
And yeah, I just don't know with Star Wars. It's just like, I just don't know how you
this is what
fix it.
This was what my thinking was. Like, GTA on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, day one sold $800 million. You're telling me like a Star Wars version of GTA couldn't make a quarter of that?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. So there's an example right there. If you asked everybody, what would they rather have? Another GTA game or a Star Wars GTA game? Everybody would say a regular GTA game.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because like I said, nobody wants Star Wars, and it's not that people hate it. I just think that like it's like, it's common knowledge now that Star Wars is not the best place. It's not where it was when the prequels. When prequels were out, Star Wars was cool. Everyone loved it. People that aren't even into Star Wars now know, like, its reputation has been damaged.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think that's repairable. I really once you damage a reputation and your outside audience acknowledges it, that's like I don't know. It's just now it's just a salvage operation at this point for Star Wars, which is really sad to say, but it's just like Disney did more damage, I think, than they ever realized with the Last Jedi. Because The Force Awakens is fine. It was a safe movie. I loved everybody in it. I loved the whole thing. But The Last Jedi did so much damage, and then they doubled down in what's it called? The Rise of Skywalker. And then what is it? Recently, they just had an article talking about how Disney is claiming that the sequel trilogy will age just as well, if not better, than the prequel trilogy. And I'm like, I just don't see it. It's almost been 10 years. It's almost been 10 years since The Force Awakens, and people still can't stand these movies. You look back at the prequels. I mean, The Phantom Menace came out, what, 99 or was it 2000? 99, right?
99. Yeah.
Flash forward 10 years. We're already getting Clone Wars. We had all three movies. I mean, and we had games. We had all kinds of great stuff for Star Wars back then. You know what I mean? Star Wars was in a really good spot in 2009. You know, The Force Awakens, you flash forward to 2025, we don't have shit. We don't have shit. And on top of that, we don't even have shit that goes towards the sequel trilogy. So for Disney just to say like the sequel trilogy is going to age just as well as the prequels, I'm just like, that's just a load of crap. It really is.
I think it will.
Do you think it will age just as well?
I think it will.
How so?
It just needs it just needs a lifter, you know? It didn't get to have a what's it called? It didn't get to have a I don't know what it hasn't had a Clone Wars yet, right? And I think that's bigger than we think.
But okay, so to be fair though, with the sequels, George was behind the sequels. George did Clone Wars, okay, and he didn't do Clone Wars as like damage control. He did Clone Wars because he was like, he could not tell the whole story just in movies. Like you know what I mean? Like there was too much to tell in just 3 films. Because the Clone Wars connects like literally almost everything. Like the Clone Wars sets up for a lot of stuff in the OG trilogy, a lot of characters, and it's just like it's such an important part of Star Wars. And then you get to really dive deeper into the main characters, of course. But with the Resistance and the First Order, I'm just like, I don't like. I feel like if they did a show or they did they did their Clone Wars, I feel like it'd be more damage control than it was part of the plan, because they've even come out and said, we didn't know what the hell we were doing when we were writing the script. Like Daisy Ridley even said, like, I didn't know who my dad was in the film until they told me. It's like, it's just, you had no direction, and unfortunately it's like the concrete's already dried. You know what I mean? Like they have already laid the foundation. It's already dried. Like, I honestly think the best thing to do with Star Wars is either retcon the sequels or something like that and just start from scratch,
or just completely move away from the Skywalker saga.
But it's not just that though. It's just like I don't hate the fact that we have Rey. I don't hate the fact that I don't hate these characters. It's just the way they handled them and the way their storytelling skills were just down the toilet. So it's like, even if they moved away from the Skywalker saga, like, they could just repeat the same mistakes with different characters, and it's just like, dude, like they're not learning anything. Because Disney thinks we hate Rey. It's like, I don't hate Rey. I just hate how you guys wrote the character.
Yeah.
I just hate the way you guys handled her character. I hate the way how you guys like discarded Finn completely. I don't hate any of the characters. It's just like, it's just the execution.
Yeah, don't even get Fred started on Finn, because Fred's a big Finn fan. I'm a big Finn fan. I loved Finn. I thought Finn was sick. But the issue was they just didn't buy into his character. Quite the opposite. They sold out instead of running his character, you know, and that's what sucked from my point of view, was that they created these, you base them off the 3 characters, even 4 if you want to go with Poe, but Poe, Rey, Finn, Kylo. And they really only put juice into one of those characters.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the disconnect really starts. Because the only character that really got growth, that got change, that got any kind of energy from the writing was Kylo. No other character really grew. If anything, they just either stayed the same or regressed. I like what they did with Rey, but I don't like how she was handled. I don't like how they went about not explaining, oh, she was a dedicated student. You know, I feel like they just glanced over everything that she did well, and it didn't really help her in the long run. But that's a prime example of how they could do a new character too. They could do the exact same thing, and I get what you mean by that for sure. I
think for me, so Luke Skywalker is like Roger Maris, and then Anakin is like Aaron Judge, and then Rey is like Barry Bonds, you know?
She's on roids?
Exactly. That's how people feel about Rey. They hate the fact that she's like so overpowered after doing like nothing.
But the thing is, someone can be overpowered, and it still be like okay if it's good writing.
Yeah.
If it's just like I'm overpowered because that's what the script says, it's like, well, then why am I watching a movie?
Yeah, and that's very true. Very true. And
I feel like a lot of fans just feel like they were cheated on the fact that like Rey just like became this crazy Jedi. Whereas they feel like Anakin and Luke earned it more than she did.
Dude, I know people in real life that have been trying to be Jedi their entire lives, and Rey did it overnight. It's like, what the fuck?
I think it's more so that I think it's less about Rey. I think Rey's like collateral damage. It's more so Luke didn't get the send off that he deserved.
But why did he have to be sent off in the first place? That's like I'm not even a big Luke fan, but I'm just like, why'd you have to kill him? I get it, we're trying to pass down the torch to a new generation. I get it. That's something a lot of IPs do when they're introducing like they're trying to get, new generations interested. But why do you have to send him off at all?
No, I'm with I can't fathom the idea who approved it, who said, yeah, let's kill Luke Skywalker. Even though they did so, the way they did it was a slap in the face to everyone that enjoyed episodes 1 to 6. It really was, because like, you think Anakin Skywalker, could you imagine if they killed Anakin Skywalker off with him just fading away? Like, this is Luke, A1 day one, the GOAT.
Yep.
It's everything they did to Luke, man. The fact that they made him seem like this guy who had no conviction, It's like, oh yeah, he didn't turn to the dark side against Palpatine, but he'll do it because he saw Ben having a wet dream about his mom or something, like, well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's all bad, and it's just like I said, the way they, and I mean, if you wanna try to say like there's hope for them, I don't think there is, because look at their other big IP. Let's look at Marvel. Marvel is awful. It's at its all-time low. And for me and most people, I feel like Marvel ended with Endgame, because I mean, all the main characters got a resolution. I don't know who the hell the characters are in the what's it called movie, the Marvels movie. I don't know who the other two characters are.
I could care so much. Like, I couldn't care less about Marvel, just because they did the time travel bullshit.
Yeah, Endgame ended perfectly. Like, they said everything they needed to say. They did everything they needed to do.
Yeah.
The only problem is that like now there's just nothing for them to do, to the point where they're even like thinking about like bringing back like Iron Man and stuff. And well, at that point, it's like, what's the point of Endgame then?
Well, that's because they like whatever, their creativity's gone out the window. It's just they have no creativity anymore. So I mean, like the way that Marvel's going on right now, I'm just like, yeah, I'm just glad. I bet you DC is like, DC's always trying to compete with Marvel, and I'm like, I bet you they're happy as hell, because look how much money Disney has lost at the box office recently.
I feel like all they really have to do though is just like bring like Apocalypse, man. Just do something with Apocalypse. That'd be so sick.
They did Apocalypse.
Apocalypse is one of my favorite fucking Marvel villains of all time.
Yeah, they did Apocalypse already.
They didn't. Well, yeah, but like, I mean, for Avengers, like for Marvel, like in general, don't just do it for like, because they did it like really shitty. I feel like they could have done way better. Or bring Apocalypse in, bruh. Or
it's not just that. It's not just bringing in like one character or two characters. It's just like they try to include all these agendas in these films, and it's just like, dude, just make a movie and make a movie.
What really made like Avengers like so like good? Like who kept you coming back to the story? Obviously the main characters.
The whole thing.
But like, if you really
think
about it, right? The main thing that ties in the Avengers is Thanos, the villain.
No, not even Thanos. Like, everyone gives Thanos so much credit, and I'm like, dude, not even him. Like, it's You wouldn't go see it. You wouldn't go see the Avengers fight Thanos if Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor were not in the movie. Those are the characters you've been following the whole time. Those are the characters you care about.
Captain America brought me back.
You can put Thanos. You can bring Thanos. You can put Ultron. You can put Apocalypse all in one movie. If there's no characters you give a shit about, you're not gonna go see that.
No.
I'm not saying the villains aren't important. I'm thinking the villains are, but it's just like, and that's just. Like that's the state of Marvel right now. Like nobody cares about any of these characters because it's just all new stuff, and they're struggling just to keep people relevant.
Yeah.
Like once they send off Robbie Downey Jr., I was like, yeah, this shit's wrapped up. I mean, he started the whole thing. He was the trailblazer for it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a shit about any of the characters in Star Wars right now. Like any of the TV shows, like there's not a single character I'm attached to.
I think like modern media
Andor, bro.
Not even Andor. I already know what happens to him. He dies on a beach. He's got a good death.
I know. That's why I think I can get behind Andor a little bit. Because I know where it goes to and I know where it leads to, right? So it kind of puts it's like you start the puzzle from the outside and then you build up the internal and then you get to see what the masterpiece looks like.
You buy the Lego, it's already complete, and they're like, all right, take it apart, put it back in the bag.
Yeah.
Fun.
Andor, I love Andor. You guys know that. But they need to capitalize on it. Because that's kind of their golden goose right now. Because
is it though?
I think so.
So, quick question. I asked this question to everybody that says they love Andor, because I don't care for the show. I don't hate it, but like I did not enjoy it. So you like Andor? How many times have you rewatched it?
3 times.
Start to finish. Okay. That's more than what I normally get as an answer. Most people are like, I haven't watched it yet, and I'm like, okay, but you said you love the show, yet you're always watching Clone Wars over and over and over. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
I'm not trying to prove a point or anything. I just think it's interesting that so many people loved Andor, but just haven't rewatched it. I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those shows that's not as easy to watch as Clone Wars, you know, where like Clone Wars has a million episodes that you can pick and choose from.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, there's a lot of good shows that have no rewatchability.
Do you want to hop in this? Do you want to hop in this zombies game, Vanciel?
I have 0 rewatchability, but
as soon as I'm done with my multiplayer.
Okay.
But yeah, that's fair. Like Breaking Bad, I've only watched twice, and that's an amazing show.
Yeah.
The thing that I loved about Andor was how captivating it was. Genuinely. I really liked and I hate TV. I hate TV. I'm a movie guy. But I really liked the 4 arcs setup that they did. Where the first 3 episodes covered an arc, second 3 covered a different one, third 3 covered another, and the last 3 covered kind of a different one, but also it pieced together everything that happened. And I loved how we went from square 1 to square 4 while encapsulating everything that happened with every character. Every character that you met was in the finale in the same place for a different reason, and you cared why they were there. That's why I think it was just absolutely phenomenal. The writing was tremendous, and it felt like as Star Wars gets for like the everyman. I know there was no lightsabers or Sith or the Force, which I understand is a huge thing to lack, but
see, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with none of the wizardry like Force stuff, because I'm like, there's more to Star Wars. But for me, like Andor, just like, I don't know, man. I couldn't get behind it. I feel like yes, it was a good show, but I'm like, and the writing was good, but I'm like, I just feel like a lot of people act like it's the first thing that they've ever watched. And I'm like, it's not. Like the writing, I won't discredit the writing. The writing was good, but I'm like, I just couldn't get in the show. I couldn't get in the show because it's like, I thought it was really weird that they chose Andor to like. I like Cassian Andor was not a standout character for me in Rogue One personally.
No, and I had the same belief. Like I had 0 expectations going into that show.
So I think the fact that it had zero expectations for most people, the fact that we're kind of getting drip fed as Star Wars fans, I think helped that show tremendously because we came off the Book of Boba before we got Andor, and everyone hated the Book of Boba. People did not like it, including myself. I didn't hate it, but it was definitely like they ruined Boba Fett almost. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like since we've been getting spoon fed just lackluster content for Star Wars, the second we get a hint of anything that's like decent, it's like I feel like we're just praising it. That's why when we did that Ahsoka review, I was giving it like a 6 out of 10. I was like, I think Ahsoka was like below average.
That's fair. That's fair. And you gave your reasons.
It's tough to judge something when we're like when you don't look at the broader scope. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a complete fair way to look at it. The thing that I know we're not talking about Boba, but it does. They made Boba Fett like the retired boxer that comes back to train the new guy, and I've never liked stories like that because I think you need to respect the characters that came before you, and with Boba Fett, like it's clear that they wanted to make Boba Fett a Mandalorian show, which is what they did.
A little bit, yeah.
They had to scrap 2 episodes of Boba to...
Yeah, 2 whole episodes. Like, what the hell was up with that?
They had to bring back Grogu.
Crazy.
Yeah. And they had to bring back Grogu because he sold merchandise.
Because Kathleen Kennedy said so.
And that's what I think. I think it ruined season 3 of Mando for me. If there is a season 4, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. I'll watch it as I need to, especially that they're wasting time with Mando. Really, I think the show should have ended after 2 seasons. I don't think we needed a season 3.
Mission accomplished, right?
Yeah. I really don't think that we needed a season 3 of Mando. You can then start a Luke show. And before we even talk about that, they need to stop naming shows after the characters, man. I think that's a huge issue.
Well, it's kind of weird if you name a show after a character and they're not even in the show. That happened to Mando too. What was it, episode 3 of season 3, where like we just followed around Doctor and they them the whole time?
Yeah. Same with Book of Boba Fett season.
Yeah.
Well, not season, but episodes 5 and 6.
Episodes like 5 and 6. It was just you followed Bam around the whole time. It's like, okay, cool show, bro. Very
cool show, bro. And Book of Boba Fett's getting a season 2, which is nuts. You know, like
I don't know what they're gonna do. I'm like,
what are you doing with that?
And the crazy part was too about Book of Boba, like the writing was so bad that like I was like getting goosebumps at the end. I was like, oh, Kira's gonna show up as a villain. She's gonna be the big reveal at the end, right? Because I'm like, that's what the show was missing. It was missing a villain. There was no villain for Boba Fett.
Nope.
Other than like the mayor's like assistant that was just annoying. It's like nobody was.
Fucking
and like
George
Cad Bane is not a villain. He's like a rival, but I'm like, he's not the guy behind it all. And I'm just like, I was really thinking that they're gonna bring Kira back. That's how they're gonna bring Kira back to Star Wars, because I really loved her character and she's a badass in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah.
And with Kira is the allure of Maul.
Isn't Kira's actress Emilia Clarke now?
Yes.
No, she was great in Solo. She's awesome, man.
Isn't she like doing like movies right now or something?
I don't know. I know she did something in Marvel recently.
I don't know if they would have been able to get her to play Kira. But, you know.
I mean, she played Kira in Solo.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is, like, I don't know. I don't think they would have been able to get her back because she was like, at that time, I think, committed to another role. So
got out for that money.
I mean, she did Marvel. She did like Secret Wars, Secret Invasion, or something like that. I mean, I heard the show was awful, but she did that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that she wouldn't be on the show. What I'm saying is that she was already committed to another role at that time.
Oh, during Boba, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I could go the rest of my life without watching a Marvel piece. Genuinely, like Infinity War, Endgame, it happened.
Dude, like I was like that after the first Avengers movie. I was like, I saw them all like at midnight. It's like, oh, this is really cool. I was in high school. Like, yeah, this is really cool. It's like the new part of this Marvel thing is coming out. It's like, oh, we get to see the Avengers. It's like the culmination of the last like 4 or 5 years. It's like, okay, cool. And then I was like, all right. And after that, I was like, all right, I'm probably done with Marvel. I'm kind of done. There was a couple I watched in theaters here and there, but like after I saw that first Avengers movie, I'm like, all right, I get it. I did this. I can check that box.
Yeah, and someone brought up Loki. Like, why would I want to watch a Loki show?
So Loki's actually different. Loki is the rare gem exception, in my opinion, because it doesn't like it's its own thing. It's its own thing. Obviously, it is Marvel. It is a Marvel character, but like you can watch the show and never watch a single Marvel movie ever. Obviously, you're probably gonna have more context if you do watch some of the movies, but I think it's worth watching. It's pretty good. Like, I actually thoroughly enjoy it. And I actually knew one of the writers that worked on the show, so...
Yeah, that's just my, like... Not my point, but my, I guess, qualm, for lack of a better word, is that I wouldn't want to watch something that doesn't attribute to something else in the long run. Like, I love long-term storytelling.
It depends. It depends on the show, because like I said, like they could do. I would love to see a pod racing Star Wars film, and that doesn't have to tie into Episode 7 or Episode 6.
It doesn't need to tie into it. I just want to know where it's at in a place. I love lore-based content.
Yeah, no. So Loki has lore. It's just you don't have to watch the other films to understand what's going on.
Okay.
But like I said, if you watch Loki, you'll know what's going on. But like you don't need to. That's what I was trying to say about the show. Like you don't have to do homework before you watch the show. You just watch it and enjoy it, and it's still a really good show.
Okay. Because before Endgame came out, I had watched. Oh, and Van Steel, there's a 3 armor over here. I'll bring it to you. Before Endgame came out, I watched all of the Marvels concurrently because I was a big fan of like Captain America.
Sure.
I'd watch all the Captain Americas, all the Iron Mans, Winter Soldier, Civil War, what have you. Civil War was dumb, but it was like fun dumb, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was fun dumb. I'll agree.
It's like your idiotic buddy. It's like your AP Gaines video. You know. Shout out to AP Gaines, by the way. My fucking guy. I just didn't know what the hell I needed all those characters to do for me, though. You know, I feel like at a certain point they just got a little cute with it, and
I mean a lot of what it was, and it's really funny because like I like to like look at statistics like this, but you know, a lot of the Marvel stuff was the fact that it was a new genre. Well, not a new genre, but it was a new era that was introduced into cinema. Like, we've had superhero movies before, but not to this, like, level, not to, like, this extremism. Yeah, and I think a lot of it was, like, I think was, like, FOMO. And, I know a ton of people that are, like, you know, that were like not a ton, but like my aunt, for example, she's like mid 60s or something like that, but she went to go see every single Marvel movie by herself or with me if I was available, like the weekend they came out. And she wasn't even a Marvel fan. Like, she wasn't even a big Marvel fan. Like, she didn't know who any of these characters were before the movies, but she's like, I always ask her, like, why do you go see these movies? She's like, I enjoy them, they're fun to watch, and then also, when I go back to work, I want to make sure I'm included in the conversation because this is what everyone's going to be talking about next week. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of in that similar camp. I'll know just enough to talk about, but again, I don't have interest in it. and it's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing personal. It's just it also circles back to I can't get invested in something where they're constantly going about saving Earth. And
yeah, it's like Earth's endangered every other day. It's like, okay.
Don't forget, they're not saving Earth, they're avenging it. It's already too late to save it.
I just hate that they're on Earth in the first place.
The whole point of Avengers, you know, is the Earth is already ruined. They can't save it, so they might as well avenge it. They say it like every time, every movie. It's like Earth's already gone, so let's avenge it, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I should have said about my grades, man.
For real.
That's why I fuck with Star Wars, because it takes you away from this galaxy. And it lets you just escape for a little while. And
it happened a long, long time ago.
Yeah. And that's where I get my... That's where I get my enjoyment out of it, is because I know that it can just let me escape reality for 2-3 hours, you know, and I can just live in this other galaxy and just kind of be at peace. Whereas with Marvel, with DC especially, like, dudes just keep saving the Earth. Like, tell a new story, man. Create something else. I know all this is already a story told, but man, like, at a certain point, start figuring it out, bro.
And that Star Wars kind of went down that same path, because it's like, oh great, another Death Star we gotta blow up. What do you know?
Yeah. Especially with the...
And then episode 9, how do we top another Death Star? I know, let's put Death Star underneath every Star Destroyer. Yep. It's like... And that's not even a new idea. That's been done before in the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm. Which I enjoy that kind of stuff. I enjoy those things that pay homage to cool things in the Old Republic, but
I don't think it paid homage though, because they just kind of took it.
Yeah, you have to do it. You have to do it right, is my point, and they didn't do it right, in my opinion. I feel like they kind of went about it the wrong way, to say the least. And everyone, like, I get this question when I get mailbag questions. I get this question every single week, which is why I don't put it in our mailbag every single week. And it's like, why, or what would you do differently with episode 9? Well, I could do a whole episode of the podcast about it.
I would have done the original story.
Which one? I've heard 7.
The one where, like, Ben has to go find Palpatine's master, and Hux is like on Coruscant, and Rey goes blind at the end of the film or something like that, and she finds out her real name, and it's not like even Rey Skywalker.
I don't think I've heard that one, but
that was the original skip. I forgot who the director was. I think it was like Mangold was doing it or something.
I'm here for it, bro.
Rey's last name was Pissed.
I like the idea of a Rey Skywalker, though. I really do. I'm pro.
But it's so like it just contradicts itself, because literally Leia, her dying like breath is like, don't be afraid of who you are, Rey. Like, you're your own person. Like, you know, own yourself. It's like, that's great advice. I totally stand by that. But then she's like, I want to take your last name. It's like, no, I just said be your own person. Don't be me.
Yeah. But, like, you know, people, especially who are in that nature of being not adopted, but being adopted into like a family, I'm sure they would feel honored to take someone's name, especially the last name of both of her masters, bro. Like, that's pretty sick.
Like if Rey took Ben and Han's last name, that'd have made more sense, because she had a much better connection to Han than she did Leia.
Well, that's the thing too, is that Ben was gonna start going by Ben Skywalker.
No, but like what I'm saying is she had a much better connection to Han Solo than she did Leia. So if anything, she could have been Rey Solo.
Yeah, and that's they were
like
gonna.
She literally thought it was her dad, bro. Like so.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
If Ben survived on Exegol, he wanted to start going by Ben Skywalker. So either way, she was gonna go by Rey Skywalker. But I think what you're saying does make a lot of sense in that Rey Solo, even just how Han started going by Han Solo, like he was literally by himself. So was Rey, you know?
Yeah.
But it will be cool to hear that, like, you know, Master Skywalker for the first time. That'll be pretty cool.
Skywalker.
Bro, what is this storm color?
I don't know.
It's goofy.
Rey is pregnant and Din Grogu is the father.
I don't think they're gonna make Rey pregnant.
They've already showed it at Celebration.
Did they show it at Celebration?
Yeah, well, it was like one of like the, you know, everyone needs to turn their phones off so we can show you something. Like, I hate how they do that. Like, that's the other thing that Star Wars does is like they do these exclusives at Celebration. I'm like, that doesn't help anybody because like your IP is in desperate need of help. And then you show shit off, but then like we don't see it for years. It's like that's not good. Like imagine if CG dropped a kit reveal of a character and we didn't get that character for like God knows how long.
How can they enforce that though? Like, oh, turn your phone off, guys.
I don't know, because they get all the stands out there.
Or maybe it's like in a theater where like they have you check your phones or something.
I mean, it gets leaked, right? Like, I know it gets leaked. It's just like
always gets leaked.
I mean, those leaks are always them though. They're doing it on purpose.
Are we gonna kill this Stormcaller, or what do we do with this guy?
I don't think we are, no.
I have health.
I got no ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran out of ammo myself. I had to go pick up a gun and like get out of a box.
It's one of those situations where I think that they are in a good place to like become leaking stuff, you know?
But it's like the Bad Batch Season 3 trailer was released over a year ago, and we're not going to get that show for probably at least another year and a half. And it's just like... It's just... I don't know.
You think a year and a half?
Yeah. They're not going to release it. They're not going to release it soon. They're going to stagger it. They're going to do the same thing they did with Season 2, where they're going to use Bad Batch as a buffer for in between shows to retain subscriber counts.
I think they gotta drop something, and I want to say that's the only thing that's like done though, unless they bang out like a quick thing of Visions and Tales.
Yeah, but Visions Season 2 is not that great.
It sucked. Me and JT turned off. Like we skipped.
There was like one episode that was good, and the rest of it was kind of like this show was garbage.
Yeah, and even with Season 1. I feel like
Season one had some cool things.
The original idea for Visions 2 was like they're gonna take whatever one is the most like received by fans and then turn that into its own little thing, but they didn't.
Well, I just think it's funny that like the idea of what's it called? The idea of God, I'm trying to blank. Visions is like cool. We're gonna have these different studios. They're gonna have the full creativity, whatever they want, Star Wars based. And of course, what happened? They all fucking wrote right about Jedi. And I was like after like 2 or 3 episodes, I was like, no way. Are they all about being a Jedi? I'm like, there's like, I get it because that's what everyone wants to write about, but I'm just like, dude, like, why did this get allowed?
Because like Tico said, the best one was gonna get its own show, So like obviously you have to pander to the audience and everyone likes Jedi. You know,
Is this
like
guy
a majority
healing?
at least.
I love the
What?
Everyman, truthfully.
Yeah.
The one where they made the episode with the like lightsaber crafter. I thought that was a sick one. Especially with how they ended up taking dude's daughter. She had to use the lightsabers. I thought it was sick. But the one like then I hated the goofy ones where they obviously were just taking the IP for granted. Like the what was it? It was like Tatooine Rocks or something.
Yeah.
About the rock band. Like we don't need shit like that. I'm sorry. That's a waste. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. Who cares? Not me. And it's shit like that that starts to offend me as a fan where like why aren't we putting resources towards things that we genuinely have been asking for?
Yeah, I have no idea. Did you ever kill this guy before? Is he even killable?
I've never seen this guy before.
Dude, you're putting so many bolts into this fucker. No, he's healing! He's healing! Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I'm getting away. This is a waste of time, IMO.
Yeah.
I gotta go do an ether contract.
We have to get a
Let's
pack
do
of
it.
punch guns to kill this guy.
Follow you, Iceman. What's your favorite thing with Star Wars, Iceman, as a super casual?
Nothing, honestly. I don't really have a favorite.
Nothing's really getting your jimmies in a waggle?
I don't think there's a single aspect of Star Wars that would ever make me watch a Star Wars movie, outside of like the one maybe that we saw when we were kids in fucking theater, but I'm like that way with Marvel and all that type of shit too.
Yeah, I can't give a fuck about Marvel.
Here's a question for like just everyone. If you could recast one character, which character would you recast?
For what?
For any Star Wars movie.
Oh, Star Wars?
Jabba the
If I
Hutt.
could recast any character.
Yeah.
Easy.
Recast any Star Wars character? Who would I recast?
Also, I need to take out a fucking one of their helicopters. So, if one of you guys has a grenade or a rocket launcher, it'd be sick.
I just got rid of mine.
Sick.
It's interesting, right? Because you literally have the chance to reshape any character in like your image of like how you see them.
So the thing is though, like I'm kind of with him. I'm like I kind of don't like. There's not a single character. I'm like, I can make improvements. I don't think I can.
Really? You don't think so? No character at all?
Nope.
Let me think about that one.
Actually, I have my answer. I'm gonna reserve my answer for when they cast Brie Larson, and then my answer is gonna be literally anybody else other than her.
I would say I'd say the actress who played Rose.
Okay.
Not because she did bad, but I feel like she wasn't up for the task. Oh, actually, no. Lizzo and Jack Black. They didn't need to be in there. Full stop. Full stop.
Yeah.
Take down that chopper.
You.
Fuck. I was fucking getting revived. Cocksucker.
By me.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Jesus Christ. Most ungrateful bastard. Let you bleed out next time.
I had self-revive. I just didn't want to use it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have brought Lizzo into Star Wars, man. That was so stupid. Start telling good stories.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. I do have an answer. If I was going to recast anybody to reshape something, it'd be the Mandalorian. I'd get rid of Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, at this rate. Like,
honestly, I've never liked liked him as the Mandalorian. I'm like, I like him as an actor. I just don't think I don't think the character was made for him, and I don't think he was made for the character. Like, I just don't think it's a good match. Especially with all the behind the scenes stuff that went on with Gina Carano and all that stuff, and what he's allowed to post, and as opposed to what she's allowed to post, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, he's honestly like a 2D character in my opinion, so I'm just kind of like, whatever.
Who do you recast though? Who do you put in the suit?
I don't know. I don't have a name in mind, but like, I've just never liked
Randy
him as...
Orton.
There you go.
The Rock.
No.
Hell no. The Rock doesn't even act anymore. He just plays himself.
Yeah, true.
Exactly. Let's reshape. Let's reshape everything.
You can't have someone.
I can't stand The Rock like saying this is the way, and then giving everybody the eyebrow.
I wish The Rock played Darth Maul.
Even then, man, like you can't have cats like that in Star Wars. You just can't.
But they're doing that now, though.
LeBron James as Darth Maul.
You just can't take the audience out of it, man. And like, I know they're doing it, but they can't do that.
LeBron James as Finn.
You can't sit there for a single second and think like, damn.
LeBron James is going to be hilarious.
Leia.
Like, that scene in like The Force Awakens where you have like all the stormtroopers lined up, and then there's just one that's just like 6'5" or whatever, however tall he is. It's just all awkward and shit.
LeBron's like 6'9", bro.
Yeah, the one stormtrooper, like the camera's like at all their helmet levels, you know what I mean, like eye level, and then like one of them's like at their waist. I'm like, oh my god.
Phasma would be fucking insane as well.
He just follows Phasma around as like a soy boy.
Yeah.
Phasma, not Phasma, but Bo-Katan too. I'm not huge on her as a live action acting.
Oh yeah, the live action I don't like. She has too much sass. Too much fucking sass, too much...
I can never tell what emotion she's trying to actually portray.
Because she's not very good. She's not very good at acting.
You had like 4 or 5 episodes ago where she was like, let me get rid of this idiot once and for all. And then next 15 minutes, she's trying to suck his dick. Like,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then this changes, like, stop calling him Mando.
You're a Mando too.
This was Van Steele's joke, bro, but they all say Mando, and he's the only one that turns. Like, they're all Mandalorians, man.
Stupid.
It's dumb. Like, is he just that guy? Like, no, he doesn't even take his helmet off.
Yeah. Go into a crowd of friends and just yell, hey, guy. And see which one turns around.
Hey, him. Huh? Who said that?
You know in fucking Spy Kids when they have the guy?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this dude. He's hitting the John Wall.
He's not the guy. I am.
Yeah.
He fucking dies.
That's how Mandalorian is for me, man. Like, it's just done out. I don't know how much more story they can keep telling with it too, because at a certain point you just have to let it go.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, when I first saw the show, I was like, oh, Baby Yoda. What a great idea. I was like taking my hat off to Disney. I was giving them applaud. I'm like, what a great idea
tipping his
for
fedora.
Disney. Dude, I was like, what a great idea for them to get non-Star Wars fans interested in Star Wars. Like, no, seriously, I was like, it's the flagship show for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And they come up with this great idea, a baby Yoda version, and I'm like, what a great idea. And then I'm like, all right, cool, well, I'm like, oh, we're going to see him in the next episode probably. I'm like, oh, and then I read online, oh, they're going to do story arcs. I'm like, okay, so we'll see Baby Yoda for 3 episodes. And I'm like, then he's going to go back to bounty hunting, right? No. And then I'm like, oh, this fucking kid is going to be around forever. I'm like, oh, okay, now I see where the direction is for the show. And I'm just like, whatever. And as long as it keeps people engaged, because that's what I was more concerned about the show, The Mandalorian. I was like, is it gonna get people that aren't interested in Star Wars interested in Star Wars? Like the viewer engagement was like super critical for that show, and it did its job. It did a great job. I thought the first season really did a good job. I was kind of taken by surprise on Baby Yoda sticking around the whole time. And then for season 2, I'm like, oh man, we still have Baby Yoda. I'm like, fuck. And then they finally deliver him to Luke, and I'm like, cool, mission objective. Let's go back to bounty hunting and fighting the Empire and stuff. And lo and behold, they bring him back in a completely different show.
Bada bing, bada boom. That's how they did it. And I hate that they brought him back. You can't just throw your story away, you know?
Yeah.
Because everything 1 to 2, seasons 1 to 2 now, doesn't really matter. Because the whole objective was, let's get him to his kind. And then they had
it totally undermines the whole thing.
Yeah, then they had to retcon Luke, who didn't care about attachments, didn't care about stuff like that. But, I mean, you can make it so this is like how Luke learns his lesson, how attachments aren't really a big thing anymore, but they're not going to do that. Unless the right people are involved at the top, and I think they got to get the right people involved at the top to make these decisions. If I'm Disney Lucasfilm, bro, I'm bringing back George. I don't care. He needs to be involved. Like, if you're still in the business of telling these stories, you have to get the main guy involved.
And I think it's a little too late for that, though.
If not him, bro, there's so many guys who could be perfect understudies, you know?
Well, we have Dave Filoni, but I mean, unfortunately, because, like, I don't know. Ever since Disney picked it all up, like, I loved Rebels, loved Clone Wars, but, like, ever since they started doing this live action stuff, it's just like it's not Dave's best work.
No,
and I feel like Dave's just gone downwards in terms of his career. Like, you know, he started off working on Avatar: The Last Airbender before he did Clone Wars, and it's just like, since then, it's just like, I feel like he's just gone down in terms of the projects he works on.
Yeah.
As Ahsoka, I mean, there's a lot of issues I had with Ahsoka. I mean, I still think it was an okay show, but, like, I don't think it was anything better than average.
You gave it a 6. I gave it an 8.5. You know, that balances at about a 7.25, which, like you say, we can't just accept things, and I agree.
Well, yeah, like I said, like, if you're starving, right? The second you put anything in your mouth, you're just like, oh my god, this is the best meal I've ever had in my whole life. You know what I mean? It's like, and as Star Wars fans, I feel like we've been starving for almost a decade now for, like, our franchise to be good. But the second you get something that's average, people are just putting it on a pedestal, saying like, oh, Star Wars is saved. And I'm like, no, it's fucking not. Like we got a lot of work to do. What are you talking about? Like, one show is not going to save the franchise.
No, I agree. I'm with you on that point.
It took us 10 years to get to the state that we're in. 10 years to get to the state. It's one show is not going to undo 10 years of damage. That's just not how it works.
No. And I agree. I think the thing that will change these things, though, is just Fred's boy, Sam Witwer. I think he needs to be tested. Give him a shot. I
genuinely believe he could be the gem of Star Wars, bro.
Yeah, like, behind the camera, in front of the camera.
He's such a good actor. He's like, well, at least a voice actor. I've seen him on other shows as well, though, and he's a really good actor on those shows, like Dexter, etc. And honestly, like, he loves Star Wars. He knows the lore better than like half the motherfuckers that even produce. There was like literally one podcast that he did, and he was just talking about the fact that like he was like, oh yeah, this, and then Dave Filoni was like, why are you doing it like this? And he was like, oh, because the character is like this. And then Dave Filoni's like, oh shit, that makes sense. Like, he's teaching Dave Filoni stuff, you know, like, insane.
Mm-hmm.
Found a portal over here on a wall. I don't know if you guys need to do anything with that.
I think having a group of those voices is only going to be for the best.
Yeah, for sure.
I think having like Bryce Dallas Howard, Ron Howard, Jon Favreau in there, like, you're gonna have something good come from that. Taika Waititi should be nowhere near Star Wars. But
yeah, look what he did with Thor.
Yeah, exactly. And you tell me, like, they don't look at Thor Love and Thunder and say, you know what, never mind about your movie, bud. Like, it's just not gonna work out. It's not a good fit. Change in opinion, this, that, the other. Like, I'm not. I don't.
And then Taika
understand
Waititi
it.
came out saying that his Star Wars movie is gonna piss people off, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why do you want that?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you. He said his movie's gonna divide the fandom.
Again.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we need right now.
Yeah, I'm at the point now with Star Wars where I just enjoy the stuff that I do have. Like, you know, I'll enjoy my SWTOR, I'll enjoy the community. But like, in terms of like a new show or something like that, like okay, so you're gonna think it's kind of weird, but like, I always watch like the new Star Wars shows, like when they come out, right? Ahsoka, there was a couple times I literally waited like a day or two, and then I saw spoilers online, and I was just kind of like, oh well, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I just didn't, like, I don't know, I'm just starting to fall out of like what they're putting out. Like, I think the one thing Star Wars needs, and this is something that actually might be a possibility because Disney is just hemorrhaging at this point at the box office, sell it off to somebody. Let someone pick it up. Let another company pick up Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, as sad as that sounds, like, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere good.
I would just say go back to the basics. You know,
They can't even do that though, man. They can't even do that.
Comics. If that fails,
but look at
get rid of
Disney.
it.
Look at Disney's track record with video games, dude. That is a whole industry. For whatever reason, as much money as Disney loves to make, for whatever reason, that is a whole industry they haven't even touched. I don't know why. And when they do make video games, they're trash.
Yeah.
They're absolute trash. Like that Avengers game that looked like it was only like on a PS2 or something like that and came out a few years back. I just don't know. I don't know why Disney just doesn't like touch video games. Maybe they just don't have a department. They just don't have a good grasp on the area. Because what Disney likes to do is they like to lease out the rights to their, you know, IPs to other video game companies and developers like EA. And they're just like, you make the game. You make the game and we'll take a cut. It's like they're being lazy about it.
Yeah.
But they've notoriously have struggled with video games. So, I mean, it's just like, and I don't know. I just don't see I don't see the effort from Disney.
No, and that circles back to Cal Kestis, man. Like, nothing about the story of Survivor, which followed their most successful single-player game in the past 10 years. Nothing about the story makes sense. Nothing about the continuation of a story that you get to literally create yourself makes sense. They don't need to intertwine it with anything. The only thing that they can do is bring up like Luke, because Luke's not a thing yet. It's a untouched era, and they keep fumbling it.
Yeah.
So, no, I get you. I get you. I haven't seen enough myself to be like, oh yeah, I put faith in this, because every time I put faith in a game, especially recently, it's just let me down.
I mean, at least with Marvel, they have their like roadmap and stuff like that. Star Wars, they tried doing that. Where they're like, hey, guys, it's another PowerPoint slide with a timeline on it, and it's showing everything in Star Wars. I'm just like, oh god, they're trying to make it like Marvel because they're running out of options.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, there's not a single thing in Star Wars I'm looking forward to, unfortunately, other than just like the day Disney wants to sell the whole thing.
I'm really looking forward to Acolyte, because it's different. It's away from everything that we know. I'm looking forward to Eclipse, whenever that comes out.
Yeah.
Hasn't been
Whenever
canceled
that
yet,
comes out.
God bless.
Not yet.
I have something for you, buddy. And then I'm looking forward to the continuation of the Kenobi series, because surely they can't make it
as long
any
as Deborah
worse.
Chow doesn't come back.
Yeah, or Joby
Which
Harold.
I think she is, because apparently her and Ewan are like BFFs. Hey, what do I do with this portal over here?
I say get rid of Deborah, get rid of Joby Harold. Everyone who was involved with season 1 should not come back. I don't know what this is. I'd have to ask Jibo when he gets on. Tay, do you know what these symbols mean?
Bye!
No, I do not.
It just teleported me very far away from you guys.
Oh shit.
LOL.
Let's go to the exfil.
Holy. How the fuck do you guys get up there?
Stairs.
God damn it, really?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think like, you know how we said Star Wars, like the Marvel was done with Endgame. I think Star Wars is done too. Like the only thing that's left is the IP. The story's done. You know,
That's what's
Anakin
crazy,
was
though, is
redeemed.
I think there's just,
Anakin was redeemed, and all that's left is the IP.
yeah, I think there's just so much more story that you can tell with it, but they're just not doing it right. They can give us a Clone Wars style show for the Empire era. Easy. They could give us a Plagueis show with the dude who played Loki as a young Palpatine. I forgot his name. I always forget his name, but that guy loves Star Wars.
Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, he loves Star Wars. And he'd be perfect to play young Palpatine. There's so much that they could do.
Yep, but unfortunately,
they keep choosing to tell the like weirdly wrong stories.
yeah.
And when they tell those stories, they fumble them. Like they took two of the most iconic characters of their respective trilogies, Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and somehow, some way, they fumbled both of their shows.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like getting like the best Rolls Royce you could possibly imagine, and then just rear-ending the first car you see. It's just like, how? It's like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
And then you blame it on the other driver. It's just like,
Oh, fans didn't like Obi-Wan Kenobi because they're racist. No, just didn't like the writing.
I don't like Reva because she was annoying. And there's a difference from a character being written to be annoying versus a character that's just annoying. My example would be if you watch Breaking Bad.
Skylar White, bro. I was about to say that, bro.
Skylar White was written to be annoying, was written to be hated. The actress took that and did the job service, did the role service. Reva was just downright annoying.
No, she didn't know how to act in the first place.
Her whole plan is, I'm gonna trick Vader. It's like, what?
And she growled, bro. I can't get over the fact that she growled.
I don't remember that.
I could paint you the picture. It's where they land on Kijimi. Obi-Wan does, and he throws the spice in the little room to kill the capturers of Leia. And then they escape. Then Reva rocks up, opens the door, growls, and goes, "Where is he?" Like
Oh my god.
no one communicates like that.
Grr. Tell me where the Jedi is, or this man and his family die.
I enjoyed her consistency though. And I liked how she would often change her like vocal range to go from very quiet, and then when she was getting angry, she'd raise her voice, but that's like all she had going for her.
I liked her when she started to talk to Kenobi about teaming up on Vader. It's like, oh, she's playing the long game. Okay, I can maybe like this character. But then, what does she do? She gets stabbed and goes, I'm going to go and take this out on Luke.
Yep.
And it's just like,
no sense.
Why? I'm like, why? Like I'm going to go take out my frustration and my failures on that guy and his nephew on Tatooine for no reason. And you know, the thing is, if she found out that he was Vader's son, maybe that would have changed the story a little bit, where it's like, okay, maybe she's trying to prevent another Darth Vader. So it's like, I can get what she's trying to do. She's like, Vader has a son, I'm gonna kill his son. But she just did it for just
shits and
like,
gigs.
just because. I'm like, what? No reason?
Yeah, she didn't kill Beru. She didn't kill Owen. She went after Luke. Fuck it.
I just don't get that.
But she could have laid his hand off for no reason.
The fact that she stabbed the Grand Inquisitor, I was just like, why? We all know he's gonna survive. Like, why are you doing this? Why?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, it did take me a surprise. I was like, whoa, Grand Inquisitor died? I'm like, this for 4 Rebels. What the hell?
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was retconning Rebels, but...
Well, I mean, it's Disney at the end of the day. I don't know what they're trying to do anymore.
Yeah. Nah, Utapauans have 2 stomachs, bro. Even though he's like the goofiest looking Utapauan of all time.
Yeah, well, I don't know. His head's like not fully developed or something.
I don't know how they could even explain that one. Because we saw Utapauans in live action.
Yeah, they look great in episode 3. They look great.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of like...
But even Cad Bane looked kind of goofy too.
To be fair, he was old. He was old, very old.
Yeah, but like the mouth and the nose, I'm like, how hard is it to get that?
Mm-hmm. No, I get you. I know what you mean.
We've seen Duros before in A New Hope in the 70s, and they fucked up one in 2020.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's all about what sells and what doesn't sell. And Disney bought Star Wars because, you know, of what Lucas did. He made it into this empire of merchandise and this empire of entertainment. And who wouldn't want to own Star Wars? You know what I mean? But the problem is they're not Lucas. They're not innovative. I mean,
no, that's
hell,
the thing,
all they do now is they just come out with remakes of their cartoon films, and they fuck those up.
Yep.
I'm like, how do you release something you've already done and make it worse? And you don't even change a damn thing. And when they do make changes, they're stupid changes.
Yeah. Ones that even are counterproductive.
Yeah. I just, like I said, Disney's just. I think Disney is starting to realize how out of touch they are with what their customer and audience base wants. And I think it's to the fact that they're starting to lose a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
like Disney Plus. I don't know if Disney Plus is gonna be around in like a couple of years. I honestly could see it totally closing down, or they're just gonna hike up their prices again.
We can even talk about like that. What as a fan, what would genuinely get you excited?
Nothing right now, man. There's just nothing I want Disney to do because I don't know. I haven't seen them do anything good in a long time. Like I was excited for Loki season 2, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm like, okay, cool. Like that was the last thing on my list that I was looking forward to.
Death Star pointed at your front door. Shohei Ohtani's life on the line, though. If you had to say something,
I can't. I honestly can't think of anything I want Disney to do right now. I really can't. Loki season 2 was the last thing I wanted to watch because my friend worked on it. I really enjoyed season 1. Season 2 was an absolute banger. It's just as good as season 1. It wasn't better. It was just as good.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I'm like, that was the only thing on my list. Bad Batch season 3 I want to see, but I'm like, I know we're not going to get that for a long time.
No.
If we ever get it at all.
Eventually.
But that's it. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see Mando. I don't want to see where Thrawn goes. I don't want to see where Book of Boba. I don't want to see any of that. Like I'm done, man. Like it's just I'm not interested. Like that. It's not that there's stuff I don't want to see. It's just I just don't have interest anymore. Like I don't have any skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not emotionally invested in anything.
I'd love a show where they recast Luke, Leia, bring back Alden Heidenreich to play Han.
I'm gonna get off for a second, but I'm still gonna be in Discord.
Yeah, all good, buddy. I'd really like a nice show. Like it could be Clone Wars style, it could be live action, whatevs. But I'd really like a probably between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back show.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just.
Or actually,
I don't know.
Would it be then, or would it be between Empire and 6?
For what?
I think it would have to be between 4 and 5, so Han can be there. Like if they
4 and 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
because 5 and 6 he's in the carbonite. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm done with it. I'm just gonna enjoy what Star Wars I have now, and then like
yeah.
you know when Star Wars was at a low point after Disney bought it and they canceled Clone Wars. I played the Old Republic. I played the Old Republic because for me that is my safe zone for Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Because Disney doesn't mess with the Old Republic yet. If I want to really, if I'm that desperate for Star Wars content, I'll go to the Old Republic. And I mean, the Old Republic has just an unlimited supply of Star Wars content. I mean, and you can do whatever you want. So like to me, like maybe next year I might get to that point where I'm just like I need more content in my life for Star Wars because there's nothing. But I can always go back there. But I mean, in terms of what am I looking forward to from Disney, like there's not a damn thing.
I feel yeah. We'll see what happens with this current crop of content, and then we'll have to go from there. Because I think
all I can say is I think next year is going to be very bare.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be extremely bare, obviously because of the writer's strike. So I'm not pointing any fingers at Disney for that because that just affected everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I think 2025 is my predictions for 2025 is we're going to get a lot of Star Wars content.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the problems with that is we're going to get a lot of everything else content at the same time. So unfortunately, Star Wars has this problem they didn't have during the George Lucas era, where in the original trilogy, when a Star Wars movie came out, it was like the movie of the year. It was the movie of the summer. There was nothing it was competing with.
Correct.
With the prequels, a little bit different. There's a little competition. With you had X-Men coming out. I think Spider-Man 2 came out like the same week or the week after Attack of the Clones came out, and both were. I mean, obviously Star Wars ended up winning the box office, but Spider-Man 2 was like right behind Star Wars in terms of sales in 2003. And then today it's even worse, because today you have streamers, you have YouTubers, you have Twitch streamers, you have all these things now that are different versions of media to consume. And it's just like, how do you get people interested in, like, one, movies, two, your movie? Like, that's I think a really tough issue that a lot of that the industry is facing. It's just like, you got to get butts in the seats. You got to get people that are interested in the show or the movie, because there's just so many other ways to consume media these days. Back then, Star Wars did not have much competition, and obviously they just took the throne. But now it's like they have way more things they have to account for. So it's like, you really got to make sure your product is solid. So an example is anything with the name Christopher Nolan on it, I'm probably going to go see opening weekend. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be Batman, could be Oppenheimer, doesn't matter. His brand is solid. I love everything that he does. There's a couple films that he's done that are a little weak, but I'm like, regardless, he has an incredible track record. I love all the films he does. With Disney, it's like they have to get in that mindset for Star Wars. Star Wars, it used to be the second you put the name or the brand Star Wars on something, it was like, I have to buy it and I have to watch it like 3 times each.
Yep.
It's not like that anymore. It's like the brand Star Wars is like, oh, I know what that is. It's like, I feel like the general public, like when they see Star Wars, they're like, oh, I know what it is. I can acknowledge its existence, and that's it. But that they need to get Star Wars, the brand itself, back to where it used to be, where it's like, if it says Star Wars, I have to watch it, I have to buy it.
I agree. They need to. And that's a good place to have it. That's a really good place to have the brand. But they just don't have it there right now, and I get you on that for sure. That's going to wrap it up, folks, though. Really productive, really good talk on the state of Star Wars is what we'll call this. No mailbag this week, because we're going to do a jumbo mailbag segment for the season finale next week. But make sure to stay tuned, download, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and we'll see you next time on the Archives Podcast.